Alright, so this afternoon, so we will be discussing about disturbances in oxygen exchange and utilization. So pag sinabi natin oxygen exchange and utilization, so it means that ang pag-usapan natin is the respiratory system. So sa respiratory system, so meron tayong tinatawag na obstructive disorder. Ano yung obstructive disorder? Sabi to, a category of respiratory disease characterized by airway obstruction. Diba? From the word itself, obstructive. Ibig sabihin, meron daw may nakabara, may nakaharang, may nag-obstruct. That's why nagkakaroon ng problem with gas exchange. And most obstructive disease of the lungs is result daw from narrowing, di ba? Lumiliit yung daanan ng hangin. So, narrowing of the smaller bronchi and larger bronchioles open because of excessive contraction of your smooth muscle. Ibig sabihin, nagko-contract yung smooth muscle, yung mismong bronchi. Kaya ngayon, lumiliit yung daanan ng hangin. Okay, there are types of obstructive lung disease. Ano yung mga types niya? So, meron tayong tinatawag na chronic obstructive pulmonary disease or COPD. Under that is your chronic bronchitis and your emphysema. We also have your what we call bronchiectasis. Okay? And kasama rin po yan si bronchial asthma. So, yan po yung mga types ng ating obstructive lung disease. So, bago tayo mag-continue with the disease process o yung mismong sakit, syempre, mag-review muna tayo, di ba? Para mas maintindihan natin, di ba? Sabi ko nga sa inyo, it is very important that you understand the normal anatomy and physiology para mas maintindihan natin ano ba yung nangyayari dun sa patient na merong problem, na ano yung sakit ng pasyente. Okay, so when we say anatomy and physiology of the respiration, sabi, papasok dyan yung tinatawag natin na respiration. Pag sinabi natin respiration, it is the process of gaseous exchange between the individual and the environment. Ibig sabihin, yung exchange daw ng hangin, ng gas, with an individual, between the individual and sa mismong environment. Diba? Sabi natin, diba yung hangin, diba yung oxygen, ini-inhale natin. Diba? Saan nagagaling yung oxygen? Diba? It came from the environment. So, i-inhale ng isang tao. Yan. Okay, in our respiration, there are three processes. First is the ventilation. Next is the diffusion. The third one is the perfusion. So, when we say ventilation, sabi natin, it refers to the movement of gases in and out of the lungs. Ibig sabihin, yung pumapasok tsaka lumalabas na hangin dun sa lungs ng isang tao. And that ventilation, meron tayong tinatawag na inhalation and exhalation. Sabi natin, inhalation is voluntary phase. So, pag inhale natin, voluntary. And while exhalation is involuntary phase. So, magmalilito, sometimes it's called inspiration or expiration. Yung dalawa na yan. So, ibig sabihin, basta tandaan lang, inhalation, papasok, exhalation pa, labas na hangin. Okay, naalala pa to, anatomy natin, di ba yung muscles of respiration. Di ba? Ano yun yung mga ginagamit natin for expiration tsaka for inspiration? For inspiration, what are the muscles being used? So we have your sternocleidomastoid, the sclerans, the pectoris minor and major, di ba? The serratus anterior and your external intercostalis together with the diaphragm. Di ba? Pag nag-inhale tayo, kasama po si diaphragm sa tumutulong sa atin. While pag nag-exhale naman, paglabas ng hangin, ano naman yung mga muscles na ginagamit natin? Your internal intercostals. Di ba? Yung external oblique, and yung transversus abdominis, yung abdominal muscle natin when you exhale. Together with your rectus abdominis. Kaya kung mapapansin nyo, di ba usually kapag nag-exhale ka, sa tiyan, nararamdaman natin yan. Di ba? Kaya pag nag-inhale ka naman, di ba yung diaphragm, ginagamit mo yan para mag-hold din ng breath natin. Okay, next process is diffusion. When we say diffusion, the exchange of gases from area of higher pressure to an area of lower pressure. Ibig sabihin, Yung mas mataas yung pressure, papunta dun sa area kung sa mas mababa yung pressure. Mga dito sa atin, sa gas exchange natin, when a person inhale, ano ipapasok? The oxygen. Ngayon, dahil nag-inhale siya, saan mas mataas ang pressure? Diba? Doon sa alveoli. Ngayon, dahil mataas yung pressure dyan, yung oxygen ngayon, ipupush in niya papunta sa capillary ni patient. And then ngayon, tataas naman yung pressure dun sa capillary. That's the time naman yung carbon dioxide is pupunta naman dun sa alveoli ni patient. And then, i-excrete nung pasyente or ng isang tao. So, yun yung nangyayari sa diffusion natin. While the next process is perfusion. Sabi natin, the ability and movement of blood from transport of gases, nutrients, and metabolic waste. When we say perfusion, di ba, yung kung gaano kadami yung oxygen, yung gas, yung nutrients, and na naita-transport together with the waste product na kailangan ialis ng katawan natin. Ibig sabihin, yun napupunta dun sa circulation. That's what we call the perfusion. May question po? Malinaw? Kakaintindihan. Okay, sige. Let's now move with the airway. When we say airway, we have what we call the upper airway, which consists your nasal cavity or the nares, yung ilong, at saka yung mouth. The pharynx, the larynx, or the voice box natin. So, eto siya, di ba? Ay, wala na naman yung pointer natin. Hindi na nagtago na naman. Ayan. So, eto siya. Sabi natin, di ba? The nares, di ba? The nasal cavity. Tapos, etong pharynx, nakatapat yan sa ating oral cavity. And then, the larynx or the voice box natin. Okay. So, ano daw yung functions ng upper airway natin? Ano yung ginagawa niya? Sabi natin, your upper airway transport gases to the lower airway. Diba? Yung pababa, doon siya pumapasok, doon dumadaan sa upper airway. Ano ba daw? Protection of the lower airways from foreign matter. Ibig sabihin, your upper airway, siya yung magpuprotect para hindi makapasok yung hindi dapat makapasok doon sa baga ng pasyente, which is part of your lower airway. And also, it has a warming, filtration, and humidification of inspired air. So, ibig sabihin, humidify niya para hindi dry air yung papasok. Diba? Warm, hindi sobrang lamig yung papasok na hangin dun sa baga ng pasyente. Okay? Well, the lower airway naman, it starts from your trachea, diba? After po ng larynx, that would be trachea. And then, there will be right and left mainstem bronchi, segmental bronchi, subsegmental bronchi, and the terminal bronchi. So, ibig sabihin, nagbabranch out siya. Diba? So, eto po yan. Diba? From the trachea, or what we call the windpipe, magbabranch out siya. So, right and left main bronchus. Diba? Tapos, magkakaroon ng mga series of branches. So, parang puno, pabaliktad lang. And then, yung pinakamaliit, diba? Doon sa pinakamaliit na, that will be your alveoli, where gas exchange happen. Doon na siya ngayon ng yayari. Okay? Ano naman daw ang function ng ating lower airway? Sabi natin, your lower airway has what we call the clearance mechanism. Diba? Halimbawa, may nakapasok na foreign material dyan. Ano mangyayari? Magre-respond yung katawan, uubo ka. Bakit ka uubo? Kasi, na-detect niya, hindi dapat nandun yung foreign materials na yun o foreign matter na yun. Kaya uubo ka, ilalabas nung katawan mo. Kaya tandaan, yung ubo ay hindi sakit. It's a mechanism or response ng katawan natin to cough out para mailabas yung hindi dapat nandun sa loob ng bronchioles or ng bronchial tree natin. Okay, we also have your mucociliary system. Diba? Yung pagtanggal din yan, tumutulong din yan para maklear din yung mga hindi dapat nandyan. Macrophages and lymphocytes, diba? Sila yung tatalo pag mayroong mga foreign microorganisms. So, they will kill that microorganisms para hindi mag-cause ng disease sa isang tao. Okay, so to discuss further, we have a video presentation. Sige, panoodin po natin.
The air we breathe contains foreign matter such as dust, bacteria, and pollen. Hair-like cells called cilia, as well as goblet cells, can be found in the lining of the respiratory tract called the respiratory epithelium. Goblet cells secrete viscous mucus that forms a layer to trap foreign material. The wave-like action of the underlying cilia mobilizes the mucus layer, removing the foreign matter and preventing it from entering the lungs.
Yan. So, ganun ginawa ng ating medullary system naman.
Talking about. First thing we need to do is to actually answer a question. What is the lymphatic system? Let's take a quick overview. The lymphatic system is a huge network of tissues and organs which defend your body against disease-causing agents. Well, that's the main definition of the system. We can think of it as a filtering system. It is primarily made up of lymph. Lymph is the fluid that circulates throughout the lymphatic system. It originates as interstitial fluid and contains a variety of substances such as leukocytes, plasma proteins, water, chyle, glucose, and salts. Now these enter the lymphatic system through little capillaries that run into the lymph vessels, which happen to be the next point here. Lymph vessels, they are part of the lymphatic system and they transport lymph throughout your body. They contain valves, just like veins, so that lymph can travel in only one direction, forwards. You can see some lymph vessels on the image here. Now, the third element that we find in the lymphatic system is what we know as the lymph nodes. And lymph nodes are bean-shaped organs seen here on this image. They are found throughout the lymph vessels, and these contain large numbers of B cells and T cells. The lymph nodes are responsible for filtering lymph fluid and removing infectious agents. Now let's
So, ano daw ginagawa? Di ba sabi natin, tinatanggal niya yung mga microorganisms. So, kasama din po yan yung ating lymphatic system. Okay? So, another function of our, nawala yung pala. Okay. So, another function po ng ating lower airway is, immunologic response. So, meron tayong tinatawag cell-mediated immunity dun sa alveoli natin. That's why, di ba, una, finifilter. So, halimbawa, may makalusot pa din dyan na microorganism. So, yan po yung tatalo or lalaban do sa infection. Okay? Ano pa daw? Pulmonary protection in injury. Di ba? Para hindi siya basta-basta may injured yung ating lungs. So, we have your respiratory epithelium and mucociliary system. So, sabi ko nga, siya yung tumutulong para maprotektahan yung ating lungs. Okay? Ano pa daw? We have the flora. Flora, hindi po singular. Charot. Okay, flora, sabi natin, are serous membranes that enclose the lungs. So, siya yung nakabalot dun sa lungs natin. And, the visceral flora directs cover the lungs. So, ibig sabihin siya yung nasa loob, mismo nakadikit dun sa mismo, dikit malapit dun sa lungs natin. While the outside layer, which is what we call the parietal flora, sabi, lines the cavity of each hemithorax. Ibig sa labas. Diba? Para pag nag-expand, tsaka yung lungs, hindi siya kumakaskas dun sa rib or dun sa peritoneal, thoracic cavity natin. Okay? So, tawag dito, sabi, the pleural space, a potential space between the two pleura. So, only few ml of serous fluid is found in the pleural space to serve as lubricant. So, yung pleura, meron daw space yan na maliit, na meron siyang minimal amount of fluids para magkakaroon ng lubricant. Para din sa heart, di ba? Sa heart naman yung pericardium. So, sa lungs, we have the pleura. So, ito po yung pleura. So, pag sinum in natin siya, so, visceral pleura, naka-direct na nagkakaroon ng contact sa ating lungs. And then, may maliit na space, diba? And this is your parietal pleura yung nasa labas. Doon naman sa thoracic cavity nagdidikit. Okay, so let's move with the lungs. Sabi natin, the right lungs has 3 lobes while the left lung has 2 lobes. So there are approximately 300 millions of alveoli dun sa lungs natin. So asan daw yung right lung? Sabi right is ilan daw yung lobe ng right lung? 3. So ito po yun, zoom natin. So this is your right lung. So upper lobe, middle lobe, and lower lobe. While sa left lung, we have the upper and lower lobe lang. Kasi di ba sa left, nag-occupy din ng space dyan ng konti yung ating heart. Kaya mas at dami yung lobe ng right natin. And this is your alveoli, which is, around 300 millions. Diba? Kasi, yan po yung responsible in the gas exchange. Diba? Dyan nag-o-occur yung gas exchange. Okay? Our lungs is meron tayong tinatawag na residual volume. Ano naman daw yung residual volume? Kasi di ba yung lungs nag-expand, tsaka nagde-deplete. Sabi natin, the residual volume is the amount of air that remains in the lungs after forceful expiration. So, ibig sabihin, kapag nag-exhale ka, hindi totally magkukulaps yung lungs. May matitira pa na residual volume, which is around 1,200 ml para hindi magkulaps yung lungs ni patient. Kumbaga, babawas na yung hangin, pero may matitira pa din. Okay? The next one will be the tidal volume. This amount of air that moves in and out of the lungs with each normal breath. So, ibig sabihin, yan po yung lumalabas. Tsaka pumapasok sa lungs ng pasyente, yung tinatawag natin tidal volume. So, around 500 ml yun. So, ibig sabihin, nag-inhale ka. May pumasok na 500 ml plus, meron ka pang residual volume. So, magiging 1,700 yung hangin na laman ng inyong lungs. While the inspiratory reserve volume is the amount of extra air that can be exhaled beyond the tidal volume. Halimbawa, pinrolong mo yung pag-inhale mo. Diba? Lumagpas sa 500 yung na-inhale mo. So, yun yung tawag na inspiratory reserve volume. While expiratory, sabi naman, is the amount of extra air that can be exhaled after a normal breath. Pag naman nag-exhale ka, may mga sinobrahan mo naman, so meron pa siyang matitira para hindi totally magkukulaps yung lungs natin. While the total lung capacity or the TCL is the total of all 4. The residual volume, the tidal volume, inspiratory reserve, and expiratory reserve volume natin. Ibig sabihin, yan na mismo yung kaya nung lungs natin na makapasok at makalabas na hangin or the total ng hangin sa lungs natin. So, meron tayong tinatawag na functional residual capacity is the amount of air that remains in the lungs after normal expiration. So, halos same lang sila nung ating residual volume. So, eto siya. So, pag tinignan mo, hati-hatiin natin. Diba? Inspiratory reserve, tidal volume, expiratory reserve, and the residual volume. So, para hindi siya nag-expire. So, palit-palit lang during inhalation and exhalation natin. So, kung titingnan mo naman dito, inspiratory reserve, tignan mo, same lang yung amount niya. Kasi nga, ito dapat matitira dyan para hindi mag-collapse yung lungs. Diba? Pag inhale, may magdadagdag. Diba? Ito yung vital capacity. Ibig sabihin yung kaya ng lungs natin. Nagets po ba? May question po ba? Sige. So, kung walang question, let's continue. Next, our lungs have what we call the pneumocytes. So, ano yung pneumocytes? So, we have type 1 and type 2 pneumocytes. So, ano naman yung mga yan? Sabi natin, ano yung mga pneumocytes na yan? Sabi natin, type 1 pneumocytes line then the alveoli, while type 2 pneumocytes produces the surfactant. Sabihin, siya yung tumutulong on how our lungs is naka-inflate. Diba? Para hindi siya pumutok, para hindi siya mag-collapse. Diba? Sabi naman, ano daw yung surfactant? Narinig nyo yan, diba? Usually, pag baby, diba yan yung sinasabi natin na hindi magandang, the problem kapag pinapanganak yung baby prematurely kasi hindi pa develop yung surfactant. Ibig sabihin, the ability of the lungs to expand or para mag-expand siya para hindi pumutok. Sabi natin, surfactant is a lipoprotein that lowers the surface tension in the alveoli reducing the amount of pressure needed to inflate the alveoli and decreases the tendency of the alveoli to collapse. Ibig sabihin, para mag-remain na naka-inflate yung ating alveoli. Okay, so para mas maintindihan, syempre, meron po ulit tayong video.
The alveoli have diameters about 200 micrometers wide and have small capillaries that allow red blood cells to be in close proximity with inspired air. In this image, there's also a large blood vessel on the right side. The alveolar surface epithelium creates the continuous lining for each alveolus and is made up of type 1 and type 2 pneumocytes. These cells also form the interalveolar septum that separates neighboring alveoli from each other. About 95% of the alveolar surface area is composed of type 1 pneumocytes, which also forms the alveolar part of the air-blood barrier. These cells can be identified by their large, flat appearances and elongated nuclei. Their cytoplasm is very thin, which can be less than 80 nanometers in thickness, and the cells form tight junctions between themselves and neighboring cells. The type 2 pneumocytes are cuboidal cells and only make up about 5% of the alveolar surface area. These cells are usually located near the intersections of the septums and also form tight junctions with neighboring cells, similar to type 1 pneumocytes. Type 2 pneumocytes are capable of synthesizing pulmonary surfactant and dividing in order to regenerate both types of pneumocytes. As a result, hyperplasia of type 2 pneumocytes is an important marker for alveolar injury and repair within the lungs.
Okay, mas naintindihan ba? Yan. So, lagi tayo may tulong ng mga video presentation para kahit papano, diba, kung merong hindi masyado na-discuss, diba, mas may discuss natin further. Okay? So, let's continue. Next naman is, ano daw? Paano nga ba humihinga? Sino ba yung nagsesend ng signal? Sino ba yung nagbibigay ng nagbibigay ng signal dun sa atin, dun sa katawan natin? Diba? Meron tayong tinatawag na respiratory center. Diba? Sino daw? Number 1 is your medulla oblongata. Sabi natin, this is the primary respiratory center, which is nakikita yan po sa part ng brain natin. Meaning, if your medulla oblongata is na-damage, pwedeng ma-damage din yung breathing ng pasyente. Okay, next is your pons. Sabi natin, your pons contains the following. We have your pneumotoxic center. Sabi, rhythmic quality of breathing. So, ibig sabihin siya responsible para mag-inhale, exhale ka. Diba? Para ma-reach natin yung normal RR na 12 to 20 breaths per minute. While the apneustic center, sabi dito, deep prolonged inspiration. Siya naman, pag-inhale natin. While the carotid and aortic body, sabi, take up the work of breathing when the chemoreceptor in the medulla oblongata are damaged. So, ito, si carotid and aortic bodies, back up yan. Kumbaga, sila yung back up dancer. Pag nagkaroon ng problem with your medulla oblongata, siya muna yung magpa-function para makahinga pa din yung patient. So, kung titingnan sa diagram, this is the medulla, this is the pons. Saan daw yung mga respiratory center yan? Sabi natin, sinesend niya yung signal para magkaroon ng movement dun sa accessory muscles natin for inhalation and for expiration. Okay, naalala na po yung ating anatomy and physiology. Gets po ba? Ayun, meron pa, kala wala nang kasama. Okay, so let's move now with the assessments and diagnostic when it comes to our respiratory system. So number 1 is your pulmonary function test. Sabi dito, it measures the lung volume, the ventilator function, and mechanism of breathing, diffusion, and gas exchange. So, through pulmonary function test, ano daw yan? Mini-measure natin yung lung capacity, titingnan natin ano ba yung kaya, or yung capacity mismo ng lungs natin. So, ang ginagawa dyan, so eto, merong mouthpiece. So, yung mouthpiece, tatakpan yung ilong ng pasyente, tapos dun siya hihinga. So, actually, pahigup po yan para makita yan. So, nagpagawa ako niyan dati. So, is a series of tests, iba-ibang klaseng breathing yung papagawa sa'yo. Diba? So, sa akin pinagawa nun, sabihin sa'yo, oh, parang hingal aso. Diba? Ganun ka. O kaya sabihin naman, hingang malalim. Pag hininga mo malalim, titingnan doon sa machine kung gaano kadami yung na-inhale mo. Exhale naman, prolong expiration. Titingnan din yan doon sa ating pulmonary function test natin.
Today we're going to be doing a spirometry test with you. Your provider heard a wheeze, and so we're going to see if that wheeze has an abnormal pulmonary function test. So basically how we're going to start the test is you're just going to relax and breathe normal for me. After a bit of normal breathing, I'm going to have you take your deepest breath. You got to pack in as much air as you possibly can, and then blast it out as hard as you can, as long as you can as well. You're going to squeeze, 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 getting out all your air. And when you have it all out, take the breath back in as hard and as fast as you can. I'll talk you through each step of the way. There's going to be some flashing lights. When it turns green, I want you to put it in your mouth and start breathing. I'm going to put a nose clip on so you can't breathe through your nose. Relax and breathe as normal as you can. After a couple normal breaths, when you're ready, take your very deepest breath. Pack in as much as you can. Big breath, now blast. Go long, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Squeeze out all your air. Now, big fast in. Great, nice job.
So, yan naman yung inspirometry test. So, actually, yung inspirometry, meron tayo yan sa school. So, I'm not sure if ipapagawa po yan sa rep din ninyo. So, dyan naman, usually yung spirometry there, or spirometer, ginagamit naman yan, tutulong yan para sa mga patient na nagkaroon ng lung collapse para mag-expand ulit yung lungs nila. So, I think ipapagawa yan sa RETDEM or sa skills lab ninyo. Okay, next is your arterial blood gas analysis. So, sabi natin, ano naman yan? Sabi, checks respiratory function in terms of oxygenating the blood and maintaining the acid base. So, si arterial blood gas, from the words of arterial, ibig sabihin, yung sample of blood is galing dun sa artery ni patient, which is, sabi natin, di ba, yung artery, this is the oxygenated blood. So, ititingnan dyan, gaano kataas yung oxygenation dun sa artery ni patient. Ano ba? Normal ba? Abnormal ba? Diba? Ano pa daw? Meron bang acidosis or base ba? Yan. So, pero yung acid-base balance, i-discuss pa natin yan sa midterm. So, dito, in terms sa respiratory, tinitingnan yan kung bumababa o tumataas yung oxygenation. So, papaano yan kinukuha? So, kailangan pong, ayan, kakapain muna yung pulse ni patient. Kung nasaan yung pulso ng pasyente, doon po itutusok yung karayom. So, usually, around 45 to 90 degrees yung angle ng needle niyan. Actually, ang gumagawa po niyan is yung respiratory therapist po natin. Pero ako noon, dati, sideline ko yan. Kasi, yung respiratory therapist namin, ayaw niya na nag-home service. Tamad. Syempre, yung mga nurse, maliit yung sweldo, kailangan ng sideline. So, yun yung sideline namin. Ako po yung nag-home service, ako yung kumukuha ng arterial blood gas pag nasa bahay. Ayan. So, pakapay mo tutusukin. Hindi ko yan na-try sa sarili ko kasi sabi masakit. Pero nakatry kong kumuha po ng blood gas. Okay? Next, the sputum analysis and culture. Sabi nito, bakit siya ginagawa? Sabi, for us to check the causative agent for infectious lung disease. Diba? Halimbawa, nagkaroon infection sa lung si patient. Diba, kailangan natin ma-identify what kind of bacteria, virus, yung nag-grow dyan. Para alam natin, what is the proper, what's the proper, antibiotic or the right antibiotic na ibigay kay patient. Okay, tandaan, when collecting specimen for sputum, kuha ka ng plema, dapat sterile yung container kapag magkukulture. Kasi kung madumi yan, mamaya yung palang bacteria na nakita doon is dahil na doon sa container. Okay, so ano patatandaan pag magko-collect ng sputum? Sabi natin, when collecting sputum, usually kinukuha yan early in the morning. Okay, sa umaga po, kukunin. Ano pa daw? Hindi dapat pa nagtutoothbrush yung pasyente. Pwede mag-gargle ng plain water, tapos idadahak na yung plema dyan. Okay, sa iba naman, minsan in-order ng doktor, lalo kapag sticky yung phlegm, ang in-order ng doktor, ine-nebulize muna si patient para mag-loosen up yung mga secretions, tsaka pauubuhin yung pasyente para makakuha ng good sample. Okay, ano pa? So it should the specimen or the sputum specimen should be collected prior starting the antibiotics. Okay, malinaw po? May question? Kakaintindihan? Okay, sige. Wala kang question. So, next natin is what we call bronchoscopy. O, bronchoscopy. From the word ulit, sabi, scopy, so visualization. Ibig sabihin, merong gagamitin na instrument. So, broncho, meaning yung lungs ni patient, yung bronchial tree ang ating sisilipin yun ang i-check. Okay, so, what will be our nursing consideration prior gawin yung bronchoscopy? Number 1, kailangan po ng consent. Diba? Kanino ang gagaling yung consent? Sa patient. Kung gising yung pasyente natin. Bakit kailangan ng consent? Kasi invasive procedure po ito. Okay, tandaan din, consent is, sino nagpapapirma ng consent? Question ko sa inyo. Na-try nyo na ba magpasign ng consent nung nag-duty kayo sa hospital? Sino ang nagpapapirma ng consent? Hindi pa. Ayan. So, sa totoong buhay, no? In reality, ang nagpapasign po ng consent is ang ating doktor. Si doktor po dapat ang nagpapasign ng consent. Diba? Yan. Pero dito sa Pilipinas, ang nangyayari, yung nurse, i-explain ni doctor yung procedure, si nurse ang magpapasign. Pero dapat po, doktor ang nagpapasign ng consent kasi sila gagawa ng procedure. Diba? Okay? So, yung consent din tandaan, it's only valid for 24 hours. Kaya halimbawa, na-cancel yung procedure. Halimbawa, gagawin yung procedure ngayon. Bukas na lang. O, check mo. Pag expired na, magpapakonsent ka ulit dun sa patient. Okay? So, prior to procedures, the patient should be on NPO for at least 6 hours. Ano daw? Tandaan. Tanggalin daw yung dentures or oral prosthesis, yung pustiso ng pasyente. Okay? There will be a topical anesthetic or lidocaine spray to suppress yung cup reflex. So, para din siya sa endoscopy. Kaso nga lang, hindi dun sa bituka papunta sa lungs ni patient, sa bronchioles ni patient. So, patient should be on NPO then post-procedure until bumalik yung gag reflex niya. Okay, so ganito siya. So, yung aparato natin, papasok yan, sisilipin niya yun. Kung ano ba yung meron dun sa lungs ni patient. Okay? Next, ito hindi nyo pa to alam, tama? Hindi pa kayo marunong gumamit ito, di ba? Yung pulse oximeter, hindi pa kayo nakakita niyan. Tama, no? Bago pa lang sa atin yan. So, sabi natin, yung pulse oximeter daw, non-invasive device that estimates a client arterial blood gas saturation and pulsation. So, di ba yung iniipit sa daliri? So, recently lang naman nauso yung mga iniipit niyan. Dati, yung mga iniipit sa daliri na yan, bihira lang yung meron yan. Kasi, medyo pricey siya. Pero ngayon, affordable na. Di ba? Kaya ngayon, halos lahat na ng estudyante, pag inutusan mag-vital signs, may sariling pulse oximeter. Samantalang dati yung duty kami sa hospital, nag-aaway-away pa dahil lang dyan sa pulse oximeter na yan. Ayan. So, ano daw? Estimates yung arterial blood gas, yung oxygen saturation of the patient. Okay, ito tatandaan, pag magpa-pulse oximeter, so make sure, tingnan yung kuko ng pasyente, sabi mo, ay, ang bahaba, pagkakita mo, naka-cutics pala. O, dapat wala pong nail polish yung pasyente. Okay, tingnan mo din, baka malamig yung kamay. So, nakakasama yun sa nakaka-affect with the result na makukuha natin sa pulse oximeter ni patient. O, yan sample ng pulse oximeter natin. Okay, so tandaan daw, factors affecting oxygen saturations. Ayan, hemoglobin saturations, baka mamaya mababa pa yung hemoglobin ni patient. Ayan, impaired circulation, kaya bumabagsak. Activity and movement. Carbon monoxide poisoning. Normal O2 is 95 to 100, sabi natin. If less than 70, life-threatening na. Ibig sabihin, kailangan ng immediate response, kailangan ng immediate care kay patient. Baka pwede na mamatay yung pasyente. Site application, so pwede sa fingers, sa toes, wag mga bata, sa paa or sa foot. And meron din po yan yung para siyang tape, pwede po sa tenga. Meron didikit po na yan. Kasi baka minsan makakita kayo. So, sa ibang institution, meron pong ganyan. Okay, may question po ba? May question po? Sure. Okay. So, wala nang question. So, yan po yung ating mga topics when it comes to review of anatomy and physiology and mga diagnostic procedure sa ating respiratory system.